on a more shallow level, when I went off to college and I was 2,000 miles away from my mother and I was no longer responsible for my sister, that was really the first time I was not responsible for her. In college, I just wanted to have fun. You know, I was an honor. No one knew I was an honor student. That was kind of a running joke. Like, no one knew I was an honor student on the dean's list every semester. No one had a clue. I even graduated early. No one knew because I had a lot of fun,
Mm.
a lot of fun. And I don't regret any of it.
What's the difference? That's a good illustration. Like, what's the difference between that joy and the
Mhm.
joy you got bathing your sister, wrapping up the line? Like, are those the same? Are they cousins? Are they related? Are they in the same family? Is that different?
Yeah, I think they're cousins. I like cousins. I'm going to
Okay.
steal that. That's really
Okay.
good. I think one is I was 18 and I was thrill seeking and it was all about me. Like I didn't need to focus on anyone else. I wasn't taking care of anyone but myself. And so I just wanted to have fun. And if I wasn't having fun, I moved on. I had a lot of, I can't believe I'm admitting this, I had a lot of 14 to 16 week relationships in college.
Yeah.
Because usually by 3.5, 4 months, I was bored.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm young. Why am I gonna tie myself down? I'm gonna have fun and just move on. Um, that's different, that's more thrill seeking and sort of pursuing it. Whereas bathing my sister, that was something that needed to be done. That was a task, chore, and consciously finding joy in the moment.
Mm.
They're different. Cousins, yes, but they are different.
Yes, yeah. It's such an interesting thing to think about. I love the way you're explaining it. I don't even have a conclusion to this. I'm just going to ramble a little bit of like that difference between, because still the same thing. It's seeking that
Mhm.
joy, but it's
It
like
is.
it's sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, and I don't know if it's when it's harder it means more or not. Like the big kind of overarching premise for me of this show is like I think we create a lot of stories and narratives in our head, and
Yeah.
some of them are right, some of them are necessary, some of them are functional, some of them are not. They're bad, some of them cause suffering. I'm always trying to like cut through it and say like, but what's the truth? Like, what is it really?
Right.
Is it that being in college, going out drinking, having fun, all that stuff, that's actually the really fun thing. And we just tell ourselves a story that the other stuff that's much harder is fun as well. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the case, but that's what I'm always kind of trying to think and understand. And I think what I love about this conversation and hearing from you is like, it feels genuine and real. Like, no, no, again, they are cousins, but that other one was very real. There was joy there. And I hope, maybe I'm saying this to myself as much as anybody else, like it's good for that to be out in the world for people to know that and to hear it. That like that joy is real too. It's not just self-sacrifice. It's not just, you got to suffer through it and do it. I think that's important to put out into the world.
I'll give you another sort of comparison. When I was married, still living in Los Angeles in my 30s, my ex-husband, to his credit, just always had interesting things for us to do.
Mm,
Always. Like
mm,
and that was like kind of him being an adrenaline junkie. Like we always had to have things to do and places to go and people to see. And I don't mean just the weekends, but usually the weekends, but sometimes even during the week.
mm.
And I realized a little bit late in life that I'm an introverted extrovert. I'm very extroverted. I love people. I do get energy from people, but my favorite hobby is reading. And
Mm,
I do that by myself. Thank you very
mm,
much. And I want
mm,
my quiet time. And
mm,
so
mm,
so that was a dynamic in my marriage that was challenging at times because I didn't want to always go, 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 go. I didn't want to. Like I wanted to like, can we just sit home like tonight? Like why can't we just sit home and just chill out? And now here I am living in a different place, in a different part of my life, different phase of my life. And my partner and I have been together almost 8 years. And our life is a little quiet.
mm,
And we go out and do things, but neither one of us is constantly seeking stimulation
mm,
the way my ex-husband was. Not that he's a bad person, right? That's just him.
mm,
Whereas my partner now, like we just, we really just enjoy being with each other. Like we really genuinely love each other's company.
mm.
And so we do go out and we do socialize, but it's nowhere to the point where it was in my marriage, not even close. And I am so much happier now.
Mm. Yeah, there's something about authenticity there too, of like knowing
Yeah.
ourselves enough to know what really is all of this. There's a thread of that throughout this, even the issues with your friends and all that. that ability to be honest with yourself, know what you are, who you are, how you feel, which I mean, in many ways is an impossible task to fully know yourself. But I feel like that's such a big piece of it. And that's what I hear coming through from you is like self-awareness, like
Yeah.
self-awareness about what you are, what you've been through, which is really important. How do you, as you mentioned, we might get philosophical. How do you think about this, like your life, right? We've been on for whatever it's been, 30, 35 minutes. I mean, there's a boatload in there that's shitty, if I'm just being honest, right? There's some good stuff that you've been through. How do
Yeah.
you look at, in some ways, to hear somebody say, "Yeah, joy is my number one value." It's like, wow, like considering what you've been through. Um, how do you think about that? Is it random? Like, is there a reason why you've had to go through all this? Is there anger around it? Like, what the fuck? Like, why did I have to deal with this stuff? How do you make sense of it in like a grand scale?
One of my pet peeves is people who say there's a reason for everything. And I'm just like, well, clearly that you have not been through enough shit. Clearly, because but I do know people who have been through really tough things who say that. And I think for them, that's a coping mechanism. Like there must be a reason I'm going through this. There has to be. That is just such utter crap. There's a lot of chaos in this world. There's a great study on happiness about how 60% of our ability to be happy is completely genetic. Like we all
Mm,
have sort of a happiness set point.
mm,
And when I was doing a deep dive into this, I was still married, and my ex-husband, to no surprise, his happiness set point genetically is higher than mine.
mm,
No surprise. 20% is entirely on us.
mm,
We have to make a conscious decision to be happy, to do things that make us happy. And guess what? The other 20% is 100% chaos. It's just
mm.
chaos.
Random.
Absolute chaos. That 20% you can't control, that's just utter chaos. So no, I don't think everything happens for a reason. I do think, and it's funny because I'm exploring this in very early writing, as I said, for the next book. I think there's something to be said. I think it's Buddhism where there's 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. I think there's something to be said for that. I really, really do. Um, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would.
Mm,
I would, because when I think about the joy I had with my sister and how much she radically changed my life and in really good ways, like I'm going to tear up just thinking about it because we had such a bond that was just unbreakable. It really, really was. And I've never had that with anyone else. And I don't think most people get to have that kind of bond. So I feel so lucky and so fortunate. I really, really do. Does that mean that I have to go through the 10,000 sorrows because I had the 10,000 joys? Well, maybe I do. Maybe that's the way it is.
no.
And that's okay. Did you ever see that movie with Amy Adams, Arrival, I think it was?
Yeah, the alien. It was aliens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Put the
A
whole
while ago, but
alien thing aside, like
yeah,
all of you non-sci-fi people,
yeah.
trust me, you want to see this movie. I love that movie, and I was told, don't go see it. Don't go see it. You don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. And this is a big spoiler alert. And yeah, it is a sci-fi. She's able to talk to aliens, but
Mhm,
what she discovers is that the way they think of time is not linear, the way we think of time. So she sees her future and she sees that the guy working next to her who's been giving her a hard time, they're going to fall in love and they're going
mm,
to get married and they're going to have a daughter. And this is the reason people told me not to see the movie. They're going to have a daughter and she's going to die from cancer, I think,
uh,
when she was 12. She sees everything that's going to happen and realizes it's worth it. All that pain, and they get divorced after their daughter dies. So there's so much pain, but she sees that, oh my gosh, like I'm going to have this beautiful, beautiful daughter and I'll have
yeah.
her for 12 years. And so me, that movie just so profoundly affected me because I was like, yeah, I would do it all over again if I knew the future. I would do it all over again.
Do you do you
Uh-oh, I made you speechless.
No, 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 you did. You did.
I'm just teasing.
I no, no, you're right. It's not, you know, it's right. Do you believe it? Like, and there's no, you understand at this point, so all sensitivity to it, but like, is that true? Is the sorrow worth it? You think it's real, or is that one of those things we have to tell ourselves? Because if we faced it to be like how unbelievably ugly and dark the world could be, it would just be unbearable. So we have to believe it's worth it.